Not to be outdone by himself, Iggy also doubled down on controversial comments. He was asked why the Warriors lost the game, eliciting this response.
Anything else?
No.
What would that say? Just play harder. Figure it out. Change gonna come. Ain't that what we should say? Change gonna come.
Full disclosure, he said the N-word 3 times. We just showed you the one time he said it. Stephen A. Smith is here with us on Sports Center. All right, Stephen A., what do you make of Iggy's language that he used to express his recent frustration with that team?
Well, first of all, I think it comes across as incredibly frustrating, obviously so, and regardless of what he says, I think it's clear that he was taking a shot at Steve Kerr, regardless of how much he moonwalked and backtracked. I mean, nobody with sense is going to believe that comment wasn't directed towards Steve Kerr. Now, Steve Kerr obviously can be a very fiery coach at times, but he's very, very well respected and well liked throughout the league by a lot of his contemporaries at times, whether it would be with Draymond Green in the past or whatever the case may be. Certainly he's rubbed a couple of players the wrong way. What head coach hasn't? It's no big deal there. But when you take into account what Andre Iguodala had to say, keep in mind this dude is a guy that used to play at the University of Arizona that was in Philadelphia from 2004 to 2012 at a time when I was writing for the Philadelphia Inquirer and I covered him. Yes, he does joke a lot. That is absolutely undeniable, as Chris Haynes pointed out. But Andre Iguodala is a really decent dude, very, very smart, by the way, and knows what he's doing a lot of times. He's not somebody that makes ill-advised or irresponsible comments or anything of that nature. If he says something like that, he uses racial epithets or whatever the case may be, he's not just joking. He was trying to make a point. Whatever that point is remains to be seen, but there is no question in my mind that was a shot at Steve Kerr, because there's no way on earth that the intelligent, wise Andre Iguodala, who has been in the National Basketball Association now for more than a decade, wouldn't know how such comments on camera with microphones and cameras rolling would not know what kind of residue that would leave behind. There's no way that he just said it and he didn't have any clue as to what he was saying or what he was doing. That's not Andre Iguodala. No way on earth. It was a shot at Steve Kerr.
So what's the frustration there then? Is this just symptomatic of a team that is losing for all intents and purposes on a slide by Warriors terms anyway? I mean, why take a shot at Kerr?
Well, first of all, it's not just about Kerr, and I don't mean to. I'm sorry that I came across that way. Not just about Kerr. It could also be aimed at the league, because the schedule is something that they have a problem with. They have a problem with these back-to-backs. They have a problem with the number of games that they're playing on the road with minimal rest, as Draymond Green was pointing out. They have a problem with the fact that they have to capitulate to the demands of a team or a league. These are individuals that are getting paid exorbitant dollars. What people have to recognize is that when you're getting paid that much money, it elevates the level of freedom that you believe that you have, because in the end, are you going to have your salary, your guaranteed dollars snatched from you? No. So with that wealth comes a level of freedom, and to be quite honest with you, at times an absence of decorum, this need to be politically correct all the time. In the moment, after a game, particularly after a latest loss, with the frustration brewing, sometimes that's when you're at your most authentic. You're talking to a guy that's covered the NBA for more than 20 years. I'm in locker rooms all the time. I've been covering this league for more than 2 decades. When you get a raw sense of emotion from guys when you speak to them immediately after the game, which is why teams usually in the league usually forces you to wait. That scheduling, the referees on the court, some of the bad calls that were aimed in their direction, certainly that plays a role in it as well. But again, we're talking about Andre Iguodala, the highly intelligent Andre Iguodala. And to say things like he just said, and to just leave it out there knowing that the potential was there for it to be interpreted as a shot towards Steve Kerr, there is no way on earth that Andre Iguodala did not know that. He is a highly intelligent dude. He is not stupid, and he is not irresponsible. Think about it. He's been in the league since 2004. When has Andre Iguodala ever gotten in any trouble? When has he ever been known for making? He doesn't. This dude is an intelligent guy. He knew what he was doing.
And look, thankfully, at least on our end, if he had towed the company line, he certainly wouldn't be leading our show today. So he spoke his mind, and we're talking about it. Stephen A. Smith with the latest on what's happening with the Warriors, who take on the Spurs tonight in San Antonio. Thanks, Stephen A.
Thank you.
Minnesota had led by 12. doesn't have numbers, doesn't matter. He'll take it, make it. A one-man fast break, and the Timberwolves hold on to win it over the Golden State Warriors. A signature win for the Wolves.
It's the right thing to do, so we're doing it.
All right, for more on whether it's the right thing to do, let's bring in Mark Spears from the Undefeated. By their standards, they're bleeding, Mark. 4 losses in their last 6 games. I know that you follow the Warriors really closely, but what are you hearing about Kerr's decision to sit guys when, let's be honest, it's a pretty critical game for the Western Conference tonight?
Well, it was a decision that was made prior to this game. Keep in mind, this is the 8th of on a 7 or 8 game road trip. They just went home real quick in the middle. These guys are really, really tired. You could see it. I mean, there's no excuse. Everybody definitely has tough schedules like this. But, you know, I agree with Steve Kerr's move. He conferred with his coaching staff, his medical staff. And last year we beat him up for playing these guys too much when they won 73 games. So I'm not going to beat him up now when he wants to rest these guys and get them ready. Probably, you got to think long term with it. And I know it's a big game, but I'd rather them be healthy down the line than worry about tonight.
And then it allows us the opportunity to say, what's the biggest difference between the number 1 and number 2 seed? But that's not what I'm going to ask you. I want to ask you about the headlines that Andre Iguodala made after some strong language last night when he was asked about Kerr's decision and officials' calls late in the game. Here's what he said.
Anything else?
No.
What would that say? Just play harder. Figure it out. Change gonna come. Ain't that what we should say?
Yeah.
Change gonna come.
Was it planned that you guys would take tomorrow? You would cover it, take tomorrow's off, game off. Is that what you planned?
We taking tomorrow?
You, Steph, Dre,
Nope, no clue. Do what Master say.
All right. So the first bit of sound that you heard was him responding to why they lost. He dropped the N-word 3 times, and then he referred to Kerr, at least what it looked like, as a master. But now he has kind of explained himself so that's not what he was talking about. How much do you believe that his comments are just coming from a sheer place of frustration with this team right now?
Well, perhaps the master comment is pointed at the NBA for having them do such a crazy road trip. But if it is pointed at Steve Kerr, it's really, really odd. Steve Kerr is about as woke as an NBA coach as you could find. He said more in favor of black people from social issue standpoint over the last year than any black coach in sports. So I don't know if a guy making $110 million over the course of his NBA career should call anybody a master. I'm sure he could get up, walk out, and go do something else. I'm sure a lot of America would agree with that too. But, you know, Iguodala makes terse comments here and there, whether it's socially or just funny. Not totally surprised he said something odd like that, but Steve Kerr is probably the last person I would call him. Well, maybe not the last person, but he'd be one of the last people I would call master as far as white males are concerned.
Yeah, again, he came back and said, that was an inside joke. I wasn't referring to Steve Kerr as a master. That's Mark
But maybe it's Adam Silver. Is he talking about Adam Silver? I don't know.
It's rhetorical. I can't
Iggy.
answer. Exactly. We'll have to ask Iggy. Yeah, there'll be some cameras I hear at the game tonight. We'll see if that topic comes up. Mark Spears giving us some perspective on the Warriors side, but Eves, you're going to get us some perspective on the other side of this matchup tonight.
Yeah, El, because one of their best stars will not be playing as well. Kawhi Leonard took a shot to the face in Thursday's loss to the Thunder. Now he's in the concussion protocol mandated by the league. He will not be on the court tonight when they take on those Warriors without all their stars. So let's bring in Spurs ESPN reporter Michael C. Wright. All right, Michael, get us up to date on not only Kawhi's condition overall, but in terms of what he has to go through in this protocol in order for he can play again.
Well, first off, let me say we're a little less controversial around here, right here in the San Antonio Spurs facility.
True.
But with Kawhi, though, he's got to go through a really rigorous set of things before he's able to get back on the court. First off, he's got to be symptom-free for 24 hours, and then he can get into that return to participation protocol. And that thing it involves increasing levels of strenuous activity. So first off, he'll ride a bike, then he'll go to jogging from there, and then from there he goes to agility drills, and then finally non-contact team drills. And once he does all that, he'll be good to go. But the thing is that at any point in that process, if he suffers any kind of concussion symptoms, he's got to go back to the part in the process of where he was symptom-free, basically. So this could be a long thing. I mean, if you remember back to Al Horford back in November, the guy gets a concussion, he tries to come back, and he ends up missing 3 weeks because the symptoms come back. And you have to realize that every individual is different. You know, what happened with Al Horford might not happen that way with Kawhi Leonard. I mean, he could come back as soon as next week, but we just don't know. And if you guys know anything about the Spurs, you know they're always on the cutting edge of everything, whether it's recovery, training, all that stuff. So what they'll do is make sure that they kind of just handle every aspect the way they need to and get Kawhi Leonard on the court when he's ready.
Yeah, concussion test is not like the test we had in school, Michael. It's not just a collective grade. You got to pass each phase before moving on to the next one. If not, you got to start over. And,
can't shake it off.
No, you can't shake it off. So let me ask you this, though. With no Kawhi for San Antonio and none of the 4 stars for Golden State, how is San Antonio approaching this game tonight, especially considering what's on the line?
Well, man, it's a tough one, man, because, look, I talked to the Spurs on Thursday. We haven't had any availability since then. But after the Oklahoma City game, you know, they said, hey, we're right within grasp of that #1 seed. And do we want it? Absolutely, we want it. We want it, but at the same time, the key, the goal right now is to go into the playoffs playing your best basketball and being as healthy as you can be. So, yes, they want it, but at the same time, don't be surprised if Greg Popovich decides to rest a guy or two tonight. I mean, look at Tony Parker. Right now, Tony Parker is questionable. He's got some back stiffness, so there's a good chance that he might not play tonight. And if that happens, the reserves get some extra time, and you know they get a chance to show that they can help this team in the playoffs.
His family named him Michael C. Wright, but his middle name should be Benjamin because Michael B. Wright here on SportsCenter all the time. Appreciate the time, brother.